a mother's instinct. The scent of fresh flowers filled the air in the lavish Ashcroft mansion, where sunlight streamed through the ornate windows, casting a warm glow over the grand foyer. Vivian Ashcroft, coiled in a plush armchair, sipped her jasmine tea, gazing absently at the garden outside. Her heart stirred as she thought of her son Henry, the sunbeam of her life, preparing to embark on a journey of love that she hoped would lead him to happiness. Yet, it seemed, a shadow lingered over that joy. Vivian's thoughts flickered to Eliza Bennet, the woman Henry had brought into their lives. Eliza had charmed everyone with her bright smile and effervescent nature. Yet, in the quiet recesses of Vivian's heart, whispers of doubt echoed. Could someone so apparently unassuming be intentional about her affection for Henry, or was she merely enamored with the allure of wealth? As if sensing her turmoil, her longtime friend Margaret entered the room with a knowing smile. "Vivian, my dear, you look deep in thought. Is something troubling you?" Vivian inhaled deeply, setting her teacup aside. "It's Henry and Eliza. I just can't shake this gnawing feeling that I don't know if she's the right fit for our family. I want the best for him, but what if she's only interested in his fortune?" Margaret nodded sympathetically. "It's only natural for a mother to worry about her son's happiness. But have you talked to Henry about your concerns?" "Not directly. I fear that pulling too hard on these threads might unravel the tapestry of his affection for her. What if he feels I don't approve?" Margaret placed a gentle hand on Vivian's shoulder, grounding her swirling thoughts. "Perhaps you could observe her without their knowledge. Get to know her in a way that doesn't come by way of familial influence." A flicker of inspiration ignited within Vivian. Observing Eliza from a distance could give her the insight she needed without tainting her son's love. But how? As visions of disguises filled her mind, a smirk tugged at the corners of her lips. "Clara," she whispered to herself, the perfect name for the venture. Clara would be a humble maid, inconspicuous and unnoticed, allowing her to navigate the dynamics of her son's life without raising suspicions. With a newfound sense of purpose, Vivian rallied herself. She spent the following days gathering old clothing, an apron, and a broom, doing her best to prepare for her transformation. As she practiced her new persona in the mirror, her once elegant demeanor faded into something remarkably relatable. She reminded herself of her goal, to uncover the layers of truth behind Eliza Bennet. Finally, the day arrived. Donned in a simple but well-fitted maid's dress, her hair tucked beneath a modest cap, Vivian set foot into the community center where Eliza volunteered. Her heart raced with excitement and trepidation, but Clara took a deep breath and steadied herself. Eliza was easy to spot, surrounded by a gaggle of children as she painted their faces with colorful designs. Her laughter bubbled into the air, infectious and genuine, drawing the children closer. Vivian's heart warmed. Could this exuberant spirit really be hiding ulterior motives? As Clara, Vivian moved quietly among the children, building connections with them as she assisted in preparations for the upcoming community picnic. She watched every interaction, observing how Eliza treated the young minds with warmth and encouragement. It was hard to reconcile the joyful woman before her with the doubts that danced in Vivian's mind. Just when she thought she had misjudged her son's fiancée, Vivian overheard Eliza speaking gently to a shy girl who had stepped away from the crowd. "Hey, sweetheart, would you like a butterfly painted on your face? It'll be beautiful, I promise," Eliza coaxed with a soft smile. The girl's eyes brightened as she nodded, hesitating initially before inching closer to Eliza. In that moment, Vivian felt the tiniest thread of admiration tighten in her heart. Still, her mission remained. She needed to see more. As the day unfolded, Clara maneuvered through the community center, eavesdropping and assisting. She witnessed Eliza's patience while working with the children and her enthusiasm for the community. Yet, a small whisper of discontent lingered still in Vivian. Would her son's fiancée maintain this warmth when faced with the pressures of wealth? When the volunteer session ended, Eliza joined Henry for coffee outside on the center's patio. Vivian's heart skipped a beat as she cautiously approached, maintaining her humble guise. Standing a distance away, she listened to their flirtatious banter lacing the air. It was delightful, and yet, the undercurrents of concern remained. "Every time I see you, it's like a breath of fresh air," Henry mused, looking at Eliza with adoration. Eliza laughed, brushing her curls over her shoulder. "You're too kind, Henry. But I feel that way too. You inspire me to be brave and chase my dreams. I won't let anything hold me back." Vivian's heart softened. Her son's trust in this woman was evident, but what if that trust was misplaced? Before she could delve deeper into her thoughts, she was startled by the sudden outburst of laughter from the children who had gathered nearby, caught up in games and frivolity. As evening approached, Vivian returned to the mansion, her mind swirling with questions yet to be answered. She now had glimpses of the warmth and kindness Eliza could embody, but a tempest of emotions stirred within her. The next steps required careful planning and deeper observation. For the first time in many years, Vivian felt the rush of uncertainty, the thrill of an adventure burgeoning close to her heart. One that pushed her to dig deeper and truly discover what made Eliza tick. The masquerade was just beginning, and the instincts of a mother were about to lead her down a path filled with revelations and the possibility of newfound bonds. The disguise. Vivian Ashcroft stood in front of her full-length mirror, gazing intently at her reflection. The once familiar features of fashionable elegance had transformed into something unrecognizable. The cascading silver waves of her hair were tucked neatly under a simple black cap, which felt foreign atop her head. Instead of the silk blouses and tailored skirts that defined her wardrobe, she wore a modest, unassuming maid's dress, dark, practical, and adorned with an apron. Her heart raced as she adjusted the sleeves, feeling the weight of the disguise settle around her shoulders. For years, Vivian had been the matriarch of the Ashcroft family, a woman of stature and influence. Now, she was about to step into a role that required her to shed all that. She would be Clara, an anonymous maid navigating through the lives of her son and his fiancée. Today marked the first real step in her adventurous deception. She felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. Would she truly be able to remain incognito in her own home? Would Eliza suspect? The thought sent a shiver down her spine, but her purpose drove her. Vivian desperately needed to judge the sincerity of Eliza's affections for Henry. With her heart pounding in anticipation, Vivian descended the stairs. Every step felt like a leap into the unknown, a journey into the heart of her motherly instincts. In the spacious living room, she caught sight of Henry and Eliza, who were huddled on the sofa, poring over plans for an upcoming community picnic. Henry's laughter rang through the air, a sound so precious that Vivian couldn't help but smile. "Are you ready for this?" Eliza chirped, her tone playful. "I just hope we have enough balloons for the children." Vivian peered around the corner, watching as Henry leaned closer, his eyes alight with affection for his fiancée. "We will have more than enough. I think we can turn the center into a full carnival." Eliza's laughter brightened the room, and Vivian felt a gentle tug of warmth. This is exactly what she needed to examine, moments like these that showed Eliza's true colors. As she prepared to intervene and introduce herself as Clara, the doorbell chimed through the house. "Are you expecting anyone?" Eliza asked, glancing curiously at Henry. "Not that I know of," Henry replied, frowning slightly. "I'll check." This was Vivian's opportunity to slip away and start her new role. As she hurried down the corridor toward the kitchen's back entrance, she felt a thrill of urgency and purpose in the air. When she stepped into the kitchen, Vivian found herself face to face with the housekeeper, Mrs. Meyer, a woman who had been with the Ashcroft family for as long as Vivian could remember. "Clara." Mrs. Meyer looked her over, brow furrowing. "Who hired you?" Vivian quickly feigned innocence. "I'm the new maid, Mrs. Meyer. Just arrived today. I'm to assist with the preparations for the picnic." Mrs. Meyer narrowed her eyes but nodded, her tone skeptical. "Very well. We could use an extra hand. There's plenty to do, but I warn you, the Ashcrofts expect perfection." As Vivian joined Mrs. Meyer in the kitchen, she felt a blend of nervousness and exhilaration. The kitchen was alive with the scents of roasted vegetables and simmering stocks, aromas that filled every corner of the stunning mansion. She felt an irresistible pull to absorb every detail of the smoothly functioning household, to blend seamlessly into her new identity. "Chop those carrots, will you?" Mrs. Meyer instructed, gesturing to a large pile of fresh produce. "And make sure you keep your finger clear. We can't afford any accidents." With steady hands, Vivian grabbed a sharp knife and began to chop with purpose. As she worked, she steeled herself for her impending interactions with Henry and Eliza. Each slice of the carrot an echo of her resolve to discover what lay beneath the surface of Eliza's charm. "Tell me, Clara," Mrs. Meyer continued, seemingly oblivious to Vivian's inner turmoil. "Do you have experience in a household like this?" "Not this grand," Vivian replied, keeping her tone light. "But I've always loved cooking and caring for others." Mrs. Meyer raised an eyebrow. "That's commendable, but mind your place. You're here to assist, nothing more. The Ashcrofts are good people, but they can be demanding." The words hung heavy in the air. Vivian nodded, determined to stay focused on the mission. Slicing through her task with practiced precision, she kept her senses alert for any sound coming from the living room. Eliza's laughter and Henry's voice resonated like music, and with each note, Vivian felt a flicker of connection to the woman who had captured her son's heart. As they finished the preparations in the kitchen, Mrs. Meyer turned to Vivian. "The first round of guests should arrive soon for the picnic planning. Be prepared to assist with anything they need." With a nod, Vivian steeled her spirit. The stage was set, she would have to dive deeper into this tapestry of lives. After all, she needed valuable information to reveal Eliza's true nature. When Eliza and Henry appeared in the kitchen, Vivian took a breath, her pulse quickening. Henry's eyes shone with joy upon seeing Clara, and Eliza smiled warmly at her. "Hello, Clara. Thank you for helping out." Vivian stuttered a few words in response, fighting to keep her composure. "It's my pleasure. I'm glad to assist." As they discussed picnic plans, Vivian observed closely. Eliza's genuine enthusiasm radiated, but deep down, Vivian couldn't shake the disconcerting feeling that glimmered beneath the surface. Would these moments of kindness withstand the test of their privileged lives? With each passing minute, Vivian became more apprehensive yet resolute. Her cloak of disguise wrapped around her like armor, her heart swelled with the need to protect Henry's happiness. This was just the beginning of her quest, a masquerade that would test the strength of her instincts as a mother. And every interaction would bring her one step closer to unveiling the truth behind Eliza's affections, revealing whether her son would find true love or be swept away by mere appearances. Observing the heart. Clara adjusted her apron, inhaling the mingling scents of roasted chicken and fresh herbs wafting through the Ashcroft kitchen. This place, though familiar from a distance, now felt both exhilarating and daunting. Every day brought new opportunities to observe Henry and Eliza, whose affection for each other ignited the atmosphere. But how could Vivian get to know who Eliza truly was without stepping outside her disguise? As afternoon light bathed the kitchen in a golden hue, Mrs. Meyer bustled about, assigning tasks in preparation for the arriving guests. A soft commotion from the living room captured Clara's attention. She peeked through the door to see Henry and Eliza deep in conversation, their laughter ringing out like melodious notes. "Okay, what do you think about this design for the picnic flyer?" Eliza asked, her voice bright and eager as she held up a colorful draft filled with joyful drawings and cheerful fonts. Henry's eyes widened with admiration. "It's fantastic. It captures the spirit perfectly. You really have a gift for this, Eliza." Every subtle gesture, the tilt of Eliza's head, the way her eyes sparkled when Henry praised her work, pulled at Vivian's heartstrings, stirring a sense of pride for her son. Eliza appeared wholly engaged, pouring herself into the moment, connecting with Henry through shared passion. Feeling torn, Clara returned to her chores, coordinating a multitude of tasks yet keeping her ears tuned to the couple. As they walked into the kitchen, Clara kept her head down, meticulously slicing vegetables while pretending not to eavesdrop. "Eliza, I can't believe you came up with this charming layout in such a short time," Henry praised again, then leaned closer, his voice softening. "You should really help me with my research outreach project. You're creative, I would add so much to it." Eliza blushed, her cheeks blooming pink. "Oh, really? You mean that?" "Of course. I can't think of anyone better suited for it," Henry replied, his smile infectious. Caught up in the sweetness of the exchange, Clara's heart swelled and twisted like the mixing blades of a dough hook. Could this budding romance hold genuine depth? Eliza seemed not only charming, but also talented, and her ease with Henry revealed a shared understanding that danced between them like sunlight upon water. More guests began to arrive, their chatter filling the mansion with life. Clara moved swiftly, pouring drinks and collecting platters. Each time she passed Henry and Eliza, she paid close attention to how they interacted with their friends, navigating conversations with warmth and laughter. Eliza was lively, effortlessly cracking jokes and engaging with everyone around her. Clara couldn't help but be captivated. Eliza balanced advice and playful banter, showing appreciation for contributions made by others. Moments later, Vivian overheard Eliza speaking to a young woman, Lucy, who was notably shy and tended to linger on the fringes of conversations. "Lucy, why don't you share that idea with us again?" Eliza urged, her tone inviting. "I think it's wonderful." Slowly, Lucy's confidence began to blossom. "Really? You think so?" "Absolutely. I think it will add a delightful touch to our picnic theme," Eliza encouraged, her smile unwavering. As Clara stood frozen in admiration, a realization dawned. Eliza didn't just charm friends, she pulled others in, creating a safe haven for even the most timid souls. Was it truly genuine, or a carefully crafted image to win Henry's approval? While Vivian had cast doubt on Eliza's intentions, the moments unfolding in front of her painted a different picture. Hours passed, filled with laughter, collaboration, and joy. A game was introduced to engage guests, and soon the room echoed with glee. Clara joined in to help set up, positioning herself close enough to remain an observer. She caught snippets of conversations between Eliza and Henry, the playful effervescence dancing richer by the minute. "Okay, whoever loses this round has to make the refreshments for next week's gathering," Henry declared, teasingly pointing at Eliza. "Oh, not fair. You'd win everything, and I'd be stuck cooking." Eliza laughed, then leaned in conspiratorially, her eyes sparkling. "I'll take the challenge if you promise to let me taste a few first." Vivian felt a twinge of longing at the sight of their amusement, a connection formed through shared moments of lightheartedness. Yet, an unsettling notion gnawed at her. Was this merely a facade to secure her son's approval, or was Eliza as genuine as she appeared? As the evening progressed, Clara found herself swept into the festivities. When a game of charades kicked off, she felt invigorated, eager to lose herself in laughter like everyone else. On a whim, she jumped in with a burst of energy, showcasing a flair that surprised her. Much to her surprise, she found camaraderie within the group. Finally, as the night approached its end, Clara stepped out of her role momentarily and took a moment to breathe. Catching sight of Henry and Eliza once again, deep in animated discussion, she felt compelled to observe them closely. "I want our love to feel like it's always fresh and exciting. I'm so glad you're in my life," Henry professed, his voice laced with sincerity. "And I yours. I can't believe how lucky I am to have you," Eliza beamed, her gaze so full of affection that it even touched Clara. Vivian's heart began to soften. This wasn't just a fleeting passion. The warmth exchanged between her son and Eliza was unyielding. Clara realized that every small action Eliza made contributed to an intricate tapestry that demonstrated genuine affection, friendship, and resilience in pursuit of happiness. And yet, Vivian was still a mother with heightened instinct. She couldn't abandon her doubts entirely. She needed to gather more understanding of who Eliza was beneath the surface, the true shades of her spirit that might reveal intentions unknown. As the final guests departed, Clara made a promise to herself. Tomorrow would bring new opportunities, fresh encounters, and perhaps the chance to shed more light on Eliza's character. The heart had its secrets, and Clara was resolved to uncover them. With gentle determination, the following dawn would grant new insights, unwrapping the layers around Eliza as she navigated between the persona of a maid and the truth of a mother's heart. Between two worlds. As dawn broke over Clearwater, a soft glow streamed through the kitchen window, casting gentle shadows across the space. Clara wiped down the counters with a renewed sense of purpose. The events of the previous day replayed in her mind, the jubilant laughter, the warmth between Henry and Eliza, and the genuine care Eliza showed to everyone around her. Yet doubts lingered like the morning mist. Clara knew she needed to peer deeper into this young woman's heart. In the brightening kitchen, Mrs. Meyer hummed her morning tune while preparing breakfast. "You're here bright and early, Clara," she remarked, stirring a steaming pot of oatmeal. "Not everyone is so eager to start the day." Clara chuckled nervously, her thoughts still swirling. Just trying to keep ahead of the day's work. As she set the table, Clara's instincts nudged her toward another day of observation. Gaining insight into Eliza was paramount, and today they had a planned outing to the town market for picnic supplies and decorative items. This would allow Clara to blend in further and engage with Eliza directly. When Henry arrived, vibrating with energy as always, the tension in Clara's chest radiated. He approached Eliza, glowing with excitement. "Ready for our adventure?" Eliza beamed, her smile as bright as the morning sun. "Absolutely. I can't wait to pick out flowers for the picnic and maybe some fresh fruit for the sandwiches." As Clara stood nearby, arranging the breakfast plates, she caught snippets of heartwarming exchanges. Eliza and Henry shared ideas and dreams, each word buoyant and laced with a casual intimacy that made Vivian's heart both swell and ache. She longed to see her son truly happy, but feared that Eliza's charm was merely a veil for deeper intentions. "Clara," Henry called, turning her way. "Would you like to come with us to the market today? It'd be a good chance for you to see how we do things around here." The question caught Vivian off guard. In her guise as Clara, she had not anticipated being included in their plans. Yes, of course. I'd love to help," she replied, her heart racing at the unexpected opportunity. The trio set out, the early morning sun painting the town in hues of gold. Clara hung back slightly as they walked together, watching as Henry playfully teased Eliza. "So, how many flowers do you think we'll need to beautify this picnic?" 50? 500? Oh, come on. A touch of color makes everything better. We can't make it feel like a funeral," Eliza shot back, laughter tumbling between them. Clara smiled, fascinated by their easy banter. The stark contrast of their youthful energy compared to her own quiet demeanor was striking. She felt like an observer suspended between two worlds, that of a concerned mother and a maid fulfilling a predetermined role. Arriving at the market, they were greeted by the vibrant sights and sounds of vendors. The air dripped with the scent of fresh produce and baked goods. As Eliza made her way through the stalls, Clara couldn't help but marvel at the sheer joy in the way women and men greeted her, clearly familiar with her bright disposition. "There's Mrs. Hargrove. She makes the best strawberry jam," Eliza exclaimed, pulling Henry toward a booth laden with jars of jewel-toned preserves. "Do you know everyone in Clearwater?" Henry chuckled, glancing around in amazement. "I try," Eliza replied with a wink, playfully nudging him. "It's an awesome place, don't you think?" Clara lingered nearby, her heart heavy with realization. Eliza's warmth wasn't merely an act. The young woman had forged genuine connections within the community. What did this mean for the kind of future Henry would share with her? As they continued shopping, Clara found herself drawn in by a conversation Eliza was having with a friendly florist. "I think those daisies would be perfect," Eliza suggested, her eyes sparkling. "They're cheerful and remind me of summer." "Yes, the children will love them," the florist smiled, tucking the flowers into an open basket. At that moment, Clara's heart trembled with longing and uncertainty. Did Eliza truly share Henry's enthusiasm? Could they really build a life filled with that kind of warmth? Clara had stepped into the world of a maid, yet within her lay the heart of a mother striving to protect her son. Later, while they enjoyed lunch from a charming cafe, Clara made an effort to engage directly with Eliza. "What inspired you to get involved in organizing the community picnic?" she asked, her voice steady despite her nervousness. Eliza's face brightened. "I believe in connecting people. Life can be such a whirlwind, and I want to create moments where everyone gathers, shares stories, and creates memories. Plus, I love the children, they're so full of joy." Clara was taken aback by the sincerity in Eliza's voice. The woman was not just passionate, she was also deeply committed to the well-being of her community, a quality worth celebrating. As the day wore on, Clara balanced her observations and feelings, swept between admiration for Eliza's spirit and the relentless questions still swirling in her mind. The contrast of their worlds felt surreal. One was anchored in ardent love, while the other hung in uncertainty and skepticism. Before they returned home, Clara suggested they stop by the local bookstore. "If you'll permit me, I'd love to find a few things for the picnic." Eliza's face lit up. "What a great idea! Let's explore." The bookstore was warm and inviting, lined with shelves of novels and tales. As they wandered the aisles, Clara discreetly observed the interplay between Henry and Eliza, their fingers brushing casually, a remarkable display of intimacy that sent chills up her spine. "Here, try this one," Eliza said, handing Henry a book adorned with a beautiful cover. "It's one of my favorites. It has such a beautiful love story." As Henry flipped through the pages, Clara felt a bittersweet pang in her chest. It was impossible not to admire the joy and lightness that filled Henry's eyes when he was with Eliza. Yet, could it be enough to guarantee his happiness? As they exited the bookstore, Clara couldn't shake the notion of duality that existed within her, in her armor as Clara and beneath as Vivian. A mother's love conflicted with her desire for her son to live authentically, not merely through idealistic notions of societal class. Regaining composure, Clara resolved to prepare herself for tomorrow. She summoned the strength to confront her doubts and desires, steering her through unknown waters. Eliza had captivated more than just Henry. She had begun to touch Clara's heart too. With each day, the layers between two worlds peeled away, drawing Clara deeper into the journey of understanding, love, and discernment. Revelations and realizations. The sun barely crested over the horizon, casting soft hues of pink and orange throughout the Ashcroft mansion. Clara, who had officially become Vivian's alter ego, stood by the kitchen window, lost in a kaleidoscope of thoughts as the day began. Her mind buzzed with reflections on yesterday's events, the vibrant morning at the market and the genuine kindness that flowed through Eliza's interactions. But the heart of a mother remained unsettled. Could she truly trust that Eliza's intentions were as pure as they seemed? Clara had witnessed Eliza's ability to connect with her community, to shine a light into the lives of others. Yet, she still felt an almost overwhelming urge to dig deeper, to find out just how authentic this young woman really was. Mrs. Meyer bustled about, preparing breakfast and humming a melodious tune. "Up bright and early again, Clara? We've got a long day ahead with the picnic preparations. Are you ready?" "Oh yes. I'm excited," Clara replied, baking a half-hearted smile. Her enthusiasm while speaking felt genuine, yet beneath that facade lay a tumult of questions and yearning. As the morning wore on, the familiar sounds of the mansion began to awaken. Clara moved through her tasks methodically, feeling engulfed in both her identity as a maid and the mother she strove to protect Henry from potential heartache. Still, deep down, she knew the day would bring opportunities to unveil more facets of Eliza's character. Mid-morning rolled in with an unexpected set of activities. Eliza arrived at the mansion, vibrant as a spring day, her arms full of flowers she had foraged from a local florist. "Clara, help me with this. My hands are full." Clara approached, surprised at Eliza's eagerness to bring her along. "What are we doing?" "We're going to arrange these for the picnic. I want to make the tables look inviting, and I know you have a good eye for beauty." Eliza grinned, showcasing flowers in vivid tones of yellow, pink, and lavender. Clara's heart swelled with warmth. If there was one thing she excelled at, it was bringing life into spaces. "I'd love to help." As they worked together in the grand dining room, Clara could feel the effortless ease of Eliza's presence. Their laughter filled the space, and for a moment, it felt like she was a part of an intimate bond forged from shared creativity. Midway through arranging the blooms, Clara leaned closer to Eliza. "You really have a way with people, don't you? Everyone seems drawn to you." Eliza paused, taking a moment to absorb the compliment. "I believe everyone deserves kindness," she replied earnestly. "Life is short, and I want to make it beautiful, even if it's just for a day." Clara found herself captivated by Eliza's sincerity. Questions floated to the surface of her mind, but she hesitated, unwilling to shatter the warmth they had cultivated. "What motivates you?" she probed softly. "Why are you so devoted to supporting the community?" Eliza's face shifted slightly, in a way Clara recognized as vulnerability. "I grew up in a small town, and my parents struggled to make ends meet. It taught me that community can be a sanctuary. When I see the kids with bright smiles and joy, I feel like I can bring that same light into the world." A pause lingered, charged with unspoken depths of emotion. Clara could feel the earnestness in Eliza's voice and saw the flicker of past hurt in her eyes, a glimpse of the heart longing for connection. Desiring to explore this further, Clara hesitated but ultimately pushed ahead. "What if you found someone who has different expectations of you, who comes from a different world?" Eliza paused, brushing her fingers over the petals of a flower, lost in thought. "I suppose I'd try to show them that love can bridge any gap. Sometimes, what's important to one person isn't so vital for another. I believe the heart can only see beyond walls." Clara's heart raced at her words. Was it possible that Eliza could truly see Henry, not just the world to which he belonged? This was the moment she had been waiting for. "And what if that someone were my son?" Clara's voice wavered, still concealed behind her maid's facade. Surprise flickered across Eliza's face as she met her gaze. "I hadn't considered that, to be honest. I'm grateful to him every day. He's shown me kindness and love. I hold him close to my heart." The admission layered itself over Clara like silk, both empowering and unnerving. Eliza truly loved her son. Instinct flared inside her, pushing her to dig deeper while holding her breath. "Do you want to build a life with him, despite the challenges?" "More than anything," Eliza replied, her voice unwavering. "But the material world, it can weigh so heavily. Your son has a heart of gold, and it deserves someone who sees beyond wealth. I want him to be free." With those words, the walls within Clara began to quake. Eliza stood not just as a competitor seeking approval, she stood as a kindred spirit who yearned for love and understanding. Behind the cloak of a maid, Vivian's heart stirred with conflicting emotion. The conversation felt like an awakening, a flickering light illuminating the path forward. As they finished arranging the flowers and stepped back to admire their work, Clara felt the stirring of hope blossom within her. This revelation lit an ember in her heart. Maybe Eliza wasn't the opportunist she had feared, and perhaps even more importantly, she might be the right choice for Henry. The day carried on with joy and preparation for the picnic, but Clara's heart remained heavy with common thoughts that whirled like petals on a breeze. She knew the time for decisions approached. Could she allow herself to fully embrace Eliza into their lives? Later that evening, everyone gathered to finalize the preparations in the garden. Amid laughter and the scent of blooms, Clara felt her dual identity intertwining tighter. As Vivian, she wanted to protect her son from harm. As Clara, she saw a glimmer of promise and hope blossoming in Eliza's heart. In that sacred space, as laughter rang out and mingled with the beauty surrounding them, Clara realized she would have to confront her feelings. Both as a mother and a woman navigating a world layered with complex emotions. It was time to peel away the layers, reveal her true self, and offer both Eliza and Henry the chance to forge a love true in spirit and intention. The revelations of that day settled within her, pushing Clara toward a decision that would ultimately reshape the fortunes of all their lives. Unmasking the truth. The evening of the picnic dawned with the air buzzing with excitement that seemed to dance through the estate. Clara stood in the kitchen, her heart racing with anticipation and nerves. Guests were arriving in droves, laughter bubbling throughout the mansion, but Clara's mind was consumed with thoughts of her next move. The moment was drawing closer when the truth behind her disguise would have to emerge, and she felt the weight of every decision heavy upon her shoulders. The festival atmosphere outside resonated in her chest. String lights twinkled against the deepening twilight, while the scent of freshly grilled food wafted from the courtyard. Yet, inside Clara's resolve was being tested. She watched as Eliza flitted about with an infectious enthusiasm, directing families and making everyone feel welcomed. Eliza truly thrived in this moment, haloed by joy. Beneath it all, Clara felt growing admiration surface for the woman who had captured her son's heart. "Clara," Help me with these," Eliza called, her smile radiant as she held up an array of brightly colored ribbons for the picnic games. "Of course. Just show me where you need them," Clara replied, forcing her nervousness into a semblance of calm. Eliza handed her an armful of ribbons and the two women began tying them to stakes for the games. "You've really done wonders with these decorations," Clara complimented, expertly tying a bow as her hands moved almost autonomously, suppressing the swirling emotions within her. "Thank you. I just want everyone to have a great time together. It's so worth it to see it all come together." Eliza's genuine delight lit her features. Clara caught a glimpse of Henry approaching. Delight sparkled in his eyes. "There she is," he exclaimed, pulling Eliza into a warm embrace. "The heart and soul of this picnic." As Clara watched them together, something within her shifted. Their connection felt undeniable, but what would it mean when the truth of her identity was revealed? She could no longer bear living in the shadows. It was time for clarity and honesty. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm golden glow over the gathering as people filled the grounds. Laughter swirled around them, vibrant and full of life, children running about with painted faces while families gathered to celebrate. Clara's heart thudded heavily in her chest as the weight of the truth settled within her. She took a deep breath, steeling herself, but Eliza's laughter brought her focus back. "Ready for the first game?" Eliza asked, excitement bubbling over as she turned to Clara. Clara smiled, but her mind raced with thoughts of confronting the delicate truth of her deception. The time had come. As Henry mingled with the guests, Clara slipped away, weaving through the crowd until she found herself at the edge of the garden where the tall willow tree swayed gently in the evening breeze. It was serene, a perfect backdrop where she could finally confront her thoughts and decisions. Eliza soon followed, spotting Clara as she leaned against the tree. "Clara, there you are. I need your help choosing the best spot for the next game." Clara turned to face her, a mixture of anxiety and determination coursing through her veins. "Eliza, wait, we need to talk." Confusion flickered in Eliza's eyes, but she nodded, sensing a shift in the air. "Of course. What's wrong?" Swallowing hard, Clara took a deep breath, her heart racing as she prepared to unveil the truth. "You know I've been helping Henry." "Clara, do you really need to call me that? You can just call me Vivian. You're part of our family now." Eliza's bright laughter rang out, but she paused, concerned once again. "Is this about Henry?" "No. It's about me." "About who I really am," Clara confessed, feeling the burden of her secret spilling out. "I'm not just a maid, I'm Henry's mother." Eliza blinked, catching her breath as shock coursed through her. "You're his mother? But that means you. Why didn't you tell me?" Clara stepped back, not wanting to gauge her reaction but desperate to find clarity in their relationship. "I needed to see if you were honest with him. I worried you weren't here for the right reasons. I wanted to protect him from any heartbreak." Stunned silence hung in the air. Eliza's expression shifted from shock to understanding as realization washed over her. "You were watching me? Why not just ask me directly? I thought it would look different from the outside. I was hiding behind my own insecurities." And now, Clara's breath hitched as she struggled to find the right words. "Now I see you truly care for him, but I still held on to doubt." Eliza processed this information, her brow furrowing deep in thought. "Your intentions were to protect, and I can understand that. But you didn't give me a chance to show you the truth about who I am." Clara felt the weight of regret settle around her shoulders. "I wish I had. You are so much more than I originally perceived. Your heart lights up the lives of everyone around you, even mine. You deserve to be treated with trust, not suspicion." Tears prickled Eliza's eyes, shimmering as she spoke softly. "I love Henry. I would never do anything to hurt him. I came here because I believed in something real with him. You saw the bond we share, didn't you?" "I did. And I've seen how genuine you are. My heart wanted to trust you, but my fears led me to question your intentions." Clara stepped closer, reaching out. "I'm sorry for my deception. My disguise. It was wrong. As the two women stood together, a shared breath of vulnerability hung in the air. Clara realized that her instinct to protect her son while feeling the weight of deception had set the stage for this unveiling. Eliza lifted a hand, brushing Clara's arm gently. I see you, Vivian. I understand, and I appreciate your concern for Henry. It shows the depth of your love as a mother. But I hope we can move forward together. Eliza spoke softly, her voice filled with compassion. Clara met her gaze. Through the candid honesty they shared, a tentative understanding began to blossom. Can we both try? Can we build trust and a bond that goes beyond what we've experienced? Eliza smiled, affection lighting her features. I'd love that. We're all worth this chance, for Henry. Let's go back together. I don't want him to feel a divide, Clara said, hope igniting in her chest. As they stepped back into the realm of the picnic, Clara could feel the warm glow of community enveloping her. She realized she had unmasked her truth, but more than that, she had unveiled a deeper connection with Eliza, one that could form the foundation for an extraordinary family. Tonight felt different. The air hummed with the promise of acceptance and unity. Clara held Eliza's gaze with newfound determination, not just as a mother, but as an ally in a shared journey of love and understanding. Together, they would embrace the next chapter, forging a path toward a more profound bond, a family united not solely by blood, but by heart. Did you enjoy this video? If so, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to join us for more amazing stories every day. Here at Daily Anything History, there's always something new to discover. See you in the next video.